Hello, everybody. I am Brandon Jones. I'm joined by Mr. Michael Damiani.
How's it going, everybody?
Welcome to the January 2018 Community Showcase. Are we clean? Check
Yes.
the gate. Check the gate, Damiani.
Check it.
So,
We're good.
so what this is? I'm sure you're familiar with the showcase, like the concept of the showcase.
Of course.
You haven't actually been on a showcase yet, so we're going to go through some amazing submissions from our community. And what I'm surprised you didn't say anything beforehand, or you didn't need to be hands-on. Is like this is usually your job. Like usually the one like throwing in gifts and stuff like that. And like I'm always surprised how quick you can make it, because even like doing E3, like me being behind the scenes during E3 when I would just like plan to bring in B-roll that I had watched multiple times beforehand and knew they were going to talk about. It was still so stressful and challenging. And yet, if you need a Sonic GIF, you're on it. You what's your average time? 8 seconds? Just Google.
Google Images makes it way easier. Getting video footage for all of you during E3 is like one of the most hectic things to do. It's stressful.
And it's one thing is that a lot of people like watch our coverage and they're like, you don't have B-roll for a lot of this stuff, or they'll see previews, live previews and stuff like the frame trap. You know, there's a lot of game discussion. It'd be nice to like throw some B-roll on top. It's like a clear decision not to even like deal with that, because it's like that's a big undertaking to like prepare all that stuff. So like that'll definitely be a shift when we do it. But we have prepared a bunch of comments. I'm about to sit right there, son, and you're going to listen to me talk for like an hour. And then we have 10 pieces of media. I believe we have 4 videos, 2 pieces of art, and 3 or 4 photographs. I don't know what that adds up to. Something around there. But the first comment that we have from the January showcase is from Alexander Zyryanov, and I want to give credit to Mr. Zyryanov because Zyryanov, because Mr. Zyryanov is committed to making sure everybody's comments make it into the community showcase. As you are probably aware, Mr. Michael Damiani, Patreon.com does not work oftentimes as advertised.
Yes.
As is the case of the internet sometimes. And so we have comments that vanish. And Alexander, if you follow some of his posts, I haven't, immediately after the stream I will make, I'll make the community showcase public, but so you can check out the links of all the stuff that we're talking about, because some people submitted full albums and you can watch videos again if you want to see them later. But Alexander was getting in there and was leaving comments on some posts because that would resurface them. Like if someone added another comment, because he's like, I think there's too many comments, and so it's like pushing them out of view somewhere. Okay. So like they're still in the system, they just don't show up when you view the web page. And so it's tough because that's like a fluid. We're getting comments ever since we do the post, which is the last week of every month we put up the post for the community showcase. If you would like to be a part of it, for $10 and above patrons. So just before I get into what he was saying, I just props to Zyryanov for potentially making a lot of these available. He messaged me, emailed me personally a lot of the posts, like just in case you missed them. He made his own post of a bunch of different posts just to make sure they all got through. So we have a lot of hardworking people in our community, and he kicks off the comments. Last month, I named my top 5 games of 2017. Pyre, Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, Horizon Zero Dawn, Persona 5, and my goatee, Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony. Wow. Today, I'll share the rest of my 2017 impressions. Firstly, I'd like to give special shout out for Gravity Rush 2.
They're very nice.
What Remains of Edith Finch, Farpoint, only VR title mentioned, so he's got PSVR, but only Farpoint impressed him. Life is Strange, Before the Storm, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus. I appreciate all of these names listed here, the full titles with capitals, and like this is very well formatted. Some people are like, Gravity Rush, and you're like, well, 2 technically, but I get what they mean by saying Gravity Rush. Wolfenstein, South Park: The Fractured But Whole, Assassin's Creed Origins, and Batman: The Enemy Within. They didn't make it into my top 5, but I enjoyed each one of them. Secondly, I'd like to name the best game I didn't play, The Evil Within 2. Thanks Huber and Kyle for streaming its full playthrough. Is a blast to watch. And finally, I'd like to tell you what disappointed me most in 2017, because praises are meaningless if you like everything. Praises are meaningless if you like everything. My personal and most disappointing game, are you ready? This is tough. I want to set that up. I want to set that up because Mr. Zyryanov helped us a lot with the community showcase. But I don't know if you're prepared for these next 2 paragraphs.
It's one of 2. It's one of 2 games. I know what it is.
It's not just this game. The paragraph after that is pretty sweet. Okay. My personal and most disappointing game is Nier Automata. I've learned about this game from its demo and was super impressed with its music, art design, and constant gameplay changes. I couldn't wait to see what other surprises are waiting in the full game. Unfortunately, it was mostly more of the same, and I was expecting something completely different in almost every chapter. Also for some reason, the game's story didn't grab me at all, and music quickly lost its charm. I was expecting excellence from Nier Automata, and that's why I was disappointed. So maybe expectations a little bit too high.
I was not expecting that one.
It's an interesting game. I was gonna say weird, and I think that sounds derogatory. Like I think it's unusual. It is the pace of that game is not what you would typically expect from something like that.
I mean, yeah. Are we allowed to comment?
It's comments. We're in the comments.
Okay, section. I didn't know.
They want to hear what you have to say about this.
Yeah, I see a lot of people. There was even a thread on Reset Era about how Root B basically turned off this person from the game who loved it. I think the game asks a lot of players to go through it. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's very rewarding for people who persevere to the end. Jeez.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like it's on an individual case-by-case basis. Like, some people just won't take as much out of it and will say, I've had my filling of this game. And that's the one thing I do want to, like, add to that, like, sentiment, because I was a little disappointed with Nier 2. Mm-hmm. I was a little disappointed in how people got way too aggressively negative if you didn't share their opinion of that game in the internet. Like, if you did not go to the end, if you didn't, like, play it the way they wanted you to, the people just got upset and said, you just don't get it. Your opinion is not valid. So I support this. Like, this this is good.
Automata seems, and I'm similar to this because I played the demo twice, I think, but didn't actually end up playing the game. It felt like the kind of game that the people who created it don't have expectations for what you're going to think of it. You know, like they're like, we want this game to surprise you and be, unlike other games that you have played. And I think when you create experiences like that, you're just going to get a whole range of different opinions. It's kind of like Last Guardian. It kind of reminds me of that from last year, where it's just like, man, some people, it's everything to them. It's the game of the year. And some people, like, it was very, very frustrating. And my personal most disappointing hardware is Nintendo Switch. Mm. I don't like the vibes of Nintendo games, so I've needed Switch only to play Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Good game.
On Black Friday, I went to 3 separate shops for the best deals on console, controller, and memory card, and I've still paid more than the price of the PS4, and I still paid more than the price of the PS4 Pro. I'll never take it out of the dock, so for me it's an extremely overpriced piece of underpowered hardware, which you can't even buy in one box. I'm gonna stop right there. Not taking it out of the dock is brutal. So just not traveling anywhere. Never planning.
Yeah, some people just want a console, though.
But even for something like Mario and Rabbids, putting on Netflix and then just kicking back on the couch, like doing 2 things at once. You know, for the like replaying levels, you're like, I'm going to do the challenging parts, so I don't need to hear the music and sound effects and everything. Yeah. I can turn it down.
It's a nice option to have, and it gives you both options. That's why it's a hybrid system. But at the same time, the cost of being a hybrid system is it's underpowered. But also, Nintendo's never going to get into the graphics arms race ever again with at least
for sure,
with Sony and Microsoft.
I totally get that.
So I get it. If you're looking for a dedicated console experience with the best fidelity visuals on top of great games, it's a less safe investment to go with Nintendo than say a PlayStation or an Xbox or even a PC. Yeah.
Also, I'm an IT guy, but I had to Google 2 separate things about assembling the console, and then I've Googled 4 simple UI improvements like buttons remapping, only to find out that none of them are possible. I should be excited for buying a new console, but I was so angry and frustrated that I've decided to ignore it until I clear my backlog on every other platform. I think that's fine. I definitely go for months without playing a Switch. I wasn't expecting anything from Switch, and I was still disappointed. I love the Damiani. I don't know, like it doesn't. He didn't say specifically that was a Damiani loaded comment, but I love it.
I mean, do you want a brutally honest hot take right here?
I'm way down for Switch criticism. Like
I still dream of the day that I get a Nintendo system that is a just console only, not hybrid.
Yeah.
It's nice, but like I want a dedicated console that can make. I want like a Zelda and a Mario game that could have the visual fidelity of like Horizon. I want a Zelda game that looked like Horizon this year.
Yeah.
Everything else about Zelda was great. It still looks pretty good, but at the same time, there's just Horizon dangling over here like, hey, see how good you could look over here? Or even the Shadow Colossus remake. I was just like, playing through that, I was like, Zelda's never going to look as good as this, is it? It's never going to look as good as this, is it? Oh. So that hurts. That does hurt a little bit.
Sure. And I also think I cringe every time we talk about the Switch on the podcast because I'm just like, oh, here we go. We're gonna just talk glowingly about the Switch, so that, like, it's infallible. Like, there's nothing wrong with the Switch. But yeah, for me, I'm looking forward to tonight. Hopefully at midnight, Dragon Quest Builders is gonna come to Switch, so I'm gonna download that puppy, and that's just gonna be such a great. I mean, like, again, I'm not gonna take it out of the dock and like go to a week touring London, and I'll take it with me on the bus, but like even just taking it from there to there when I'm sitting exporting the podcast or working on something else, it's nice to just have like a game that I can get to. But Zyryanov, thank you for fixing many comments and getting brutal with. I don't like the vibes of Nintendo games. It's like, what do you do about that? No, but I bought a Nintendo console. Pokey Clyde, go play Undertale. It deserves to be a great.
Is that just a general advice? I played it.
That's it.
Yeah.
I have not played it. I think I would enjoy it a lot. I didn't think I would enjoy as much as I did was watching Blood play Earthbound. Oh, what a game! I mean, I'm so upset that I didn't play that back in the day. And so I'm not saying Undertale is like Earthbound, but I do get the kind of vibe in that. I haven't played a lot of funny RPGs. The funny games I have played were like Conquer or like Monkey Island or, Yeah. And so it'd be really interesting to play a turn-based, Final Fantasy variant like type RPG that like screws with my head. If I brought Undertale to the Hall of Greats and at least one person voted to it so I could bring it every time in 2018, Ooh. If it didn't win, I brought it the next time, would it possibly get in 2018?
I feel like Undertale would eventually get in.
But in 2018,
I mean, last year in the year
before 2020, sure.
Within the year of its release, people were so hot on that game.
Right.
People saying it was like people saying it might be the best game ever made. It won the notorious Game FAQs, like game of whatever contest, beating like Zelda. So everyone's like, look, Undertale. Like the Undertale hype was at an all-time high. I think it might have cooled off a little bit, but I could see it eventually getting in there. Truthful, we have so many obvious games that haven't been in the Hall of Greats yet. They're just like, gotta get them out of the way.
Oh, yeah.
Get those obvious ones out of the way, and maybe at the end of the year, maybe end of 2018, I'll give you that, Jones. By December.
On Cup of Jones, somebody was like, dude, you should bring WoW back and pitch WoW again. I'm like, I can't.
Do you know
because no one voted for it?
I'm on your side, Jones. I was a little like, are people crazy? Like, let's be honest right now. I'm telling everyone here. World of Warcraft is going to be in the Hall of Greats. It has to be.
I'm not going to say.
There's no way.
I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say that I don't think the absolute world of all of the other allies. I love all of you and I respect all of you, but that respect of Michael Huber went just a little bit, like from 100% to 99.9. Like oh, I see how it is. So when Huber comes around and he's like, you should play Battle of Azeroth. Isn't that the new expansion coming out? I'll be like, no, you should have voted for Hall of Greats. Cornfan 2007. Since picking Overwatch up in September, I've now reached over 170 hours played. Did you ever Overwatch at all?
I have not touched Overwatch. No. I streamed a little bit. I watched a single matchup of the Overwatch League. Dallas versus
nice.
One of the Korean teams, I think. And it was okay to watch. It wasn't that horrible to watch. Like I was like, okay, I can watch this.
I'll scoot this over, get some more Damiani in the frame. Yeah.
But I haven't actually played it.
It's the best multiplayer game I have played since Call of Duty 2, in which I put over 1,000 hours. The variety of heroes keeps it fresh for me. I often realize I haven't played a hero in over a few weeks to a month and jump back on playing them. Compared to most shooters, this is great as often as it is just a different gun in those who don't feel special, in those which doesn't feel special. I've also gone back to Fallout 4. I picked it up cheap in July, and after around 20 hours, I stopped playing as I had too many other games. I often find that I do that with games, but I always hope to come back. I try to keep focused on main quest lines this time, so I can at least get through the story, but almost every time I play, I realize I've spent hours just wondering about and doing whatever I run into. Overall, it is a very enjoyable game. So, I've never played it. So tempting to play in VR, man. Like, now that the whole thing's just in VR, like, so tempting to just run through all of that, because it just... I went in and was like, oh no, it's one of those games in 3D where I can actually like move, like hit forward and like I'm moving forward. It's not teleporting. It's not skipping.
Gotcha.
Because Skyrim does the skip, and it was awesome. I don't know if I just got lucky that day, but I played that at E3 and loved it. Also around one day a week, I'm jumping back into Super Mario Odyssey. Conditioned Odyssey explore 1 day a week. This is Odyssey Day. But only for a few hours each time. I finish up a kingdom and then stop, as I am usually thinking about playing something else. I'm not sure why it isn't keeping my focus like I expected. I'm sure I'll finish it up though. I will also most likely go for all moons over time too.
Jeez.
I just got to Luncheon Kingdom and bounced about as a fireball for a bit before turning it off. This sounds like the perfect way to play Odyssey.
That's how it's meant to be played.
I think so.
If you're going for all the moons, that's not a marathon. That's not a binge play. You do that overnight. I only went to 500 moons. I stopped at 500 moons. I was like, I don't need to do 900 moons, but even 500, I didn't do it all in my initial playthrough for the review. I was like, yeah, take some time. I remember Kyle being like, Damiani is still not 500 moons. Everybody, you're still not beating Super Mario Odyssey in my eyes. It's like, sure, okay, taking my time. Part of the jolliness of Mario Odyssey.
So I think that's great. All three of those sound like excellent choices. Thank you for the update, Corn Fan. Ian Alexander, February 8th. Ooh, it's getting a little emotional. You ready? Ian Alexander, February 8th, 2016. Do you remember what happened on February 8th, 2016? I mean, you don't care. You weren't even there.
I think I know.
Like, dude, I was working for another company, bro. I don't care. Was the day the Game Trailers was shut down. I remember how crushed I was hearing that, as February 9th is my birthday. What an awful birthday gift. I've been following GT since the early days before YouTube existed, but I remember the Ultimate Duck Hunting review as the one that made me bookmark it as one of my favorites. In 2008, I moved to Taiwan. I don't hear Ultimate Duck Hunting as like the tab. That's pretty great. In 2008, I moved to Taiwan, and Invisible Walls was my favorite podcast to keep me company as I got used to my new home. Eventually, a lot of that crew ended up leaving as a new set of GT staff came to the forefront, with the final bossman leading the way. I like how he refers to the final bossman as like one of our staff. That was like a person that we would go to work, and he'd have the desk there, just be walking around.
We had to walk
back. Like, oh, there's the final bossman again.
Yep.
Kyle would come in and be like, I hate that guy. When GT was shut down, I felt like I was going to lose some of my best online buddies. Luckily, here we are on February 8th, 2018. I see what he did there. With these allies going strong and producing some of the best stuff you ever have. Glad to have been on this long ride with you guys. So I love the timestamp. 2 years. Feels like longer than 2 years. Feels like a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's been
than just 2 crazy years.
It's been at least 5 years.
Fun note, Ian. The Ultimate Duck Hunting review was done by Rob Kirkovich, who's currently on NCIS New Orleans. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but he is the lab tech, and you got to have the nerdy lab tech.
Oh yeah,
that makes Star Wars references no one else understands. You got to have that on a crime show. Somebody shut that nerd up. Alex Castellanos. Even though I love to stay up on the latest in gaming, I've always been the guy. Oh, and if you want, I'm sorry, Ultimate Duck Hunting review game trailers. Just YouTube that. And somebody's probably got it up. Even though I love to stay up on the latest in gaming, I've always been the guy who waits for games to be severely discounted before I make the purchase myself. So even though it's old, I just want to throw in my 2 cents in the ring to exclaim the greatness of Injustice 2. Injustice 2 is not old. Everybody's talking about this week because the Turtles are coming. So Injustice 2 is hot right now, and it just got accepted into EVO, which I was a little surprised. Mortal Kombat's not like a huge EVO thing, is it?
No, I wasn't surprised. I remember, I guessed that it would probably be, I thought it would be in there. Just because...
Did you say that out loud? Do you have the proof?
Yeah. I don't know if I said it easy allies, but anyone who asked me, I was like, Justice needs one EVO under its belt. Like, it came out after last EVO. NetherRealm has been very good to EVO. Like, their games have been very well received. They don't last in EVO very long, but they keep churning one out every 1 to 2 years, so it's like... They get that space, and then the next... NetherRealm always holds, one spot at EVO pretty much for the last few years.
But yeah, and I loved Injustice 2. Catwoman was my favorite. That campaign was even better than I remembered. I watched Huber and Kyle stream the whole thing. And having the multiverse mode with different daily and weekly challenges while grabbing better gear and attaining higher stats is an absolute delight, especially for the $22 I paid for it. I also picked up the season pass to Batman the Enemy Within. I have only played the first episode so far, and then watched your playthrough, Jones. Very different. One episode, very different. I love that, though. Whenever I hear that I did Batman different than someone else, it makes me happy, because it's like I'm glad you didn't have to watch the same playthrough. But I will. I know I will enjoy this season, too, if not just as much as the first season. Yeah, I like this one a little bit better, actually. Because it's crazy. Lastly, I just picked up a used copy of the Crew Ultimate Edition for $13 at my local GameStop. Crew 2? You're not going to play Crew 2.
Oh, I don't.
Mario Kart's as far as you get with racing, right?
F-Zero.
F-Zero, okay. Yeah,
F-Zero.
All right. At my local GameStop. I haven't put any time into it, but I'm definitely interested in The Crew 2, and I couldn't resist a deal that's on its predecessor. Hopefully there are at least a few people still playing this game. Hopefully I didn't bore you. Never. But I don't have many gamer friends, and by many I mean one kind of a gamer friend, and by that I mean coworker who only plays PUBG and The Division. So I just needed to share a little what's been going on in my married and living on a budget discount gaming world. That's what we're here for. We're here to talk about all of those things, even though Damiani doesn't play any racing games that you play, unfortunately.
You play arcade racing games.
But when get The Crew 2, Castellanos, and then probably like 3 or 4 months from now, we'll have Blood back on.
Daytona.
We can talk about Daytona. Nice. What's the Daytona? What is
it? Enrolling start.
I mean, you say Daytona to me, and nothing beats the multiple cars in the arcade. That was the greatest.
Oh yeah,
that was
that's
playing
like, that. Those are games you have to play in the arcade.
Did they ever have a multi-kart Mario Kart setup?
Oh yes.
I've seen the doubles. So but I mean like several.
They have multiple ones.
8-player, everyone lined up.
I think it was the second version of the Mario Kart GP. It also takes like your photograph, puts on their icon. There was like a second revision, I thought, and they had it at a round 1 somewhere, not here. I think it was back in Texas. But most of them that I've seen come in the sets of 2, though, because most arcades in the U.S. don't buy the full set of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Joseph Caruso, talking about a game that I'm very excited about, that I haven't finished yet, actually. During the Best of 2017 Easy Allies Deliberation stream, Jones got to briefly highlight a game that no one else played, and I believe deserves more attention.
Oh.
It's perfect timing because what I'm about to describe relates to something that Damiani read from me on a previous episode of Friend Code.
Oh.
Let me tell you about my first experience with the fantastic Oculus Rift game Lone Echo. At this point, I've played plenty of virtual reality games over the past year, so rarely did a new VR experience truly astound me, but during the open beta of Lone Echo, as soon as I reached the area of the tutorial that taught me how to navigate zero gravity by grabbing surfaces and pulling and pushing myself around, I pre-ordered the game, which I almost never do. It was just that intuitive, satisfying, and mind-blowing that the mere mechanics of moving was worth the price tag. Once the tutorial was over, I was placed into a physical lobby of other random players playing the beta, waiting to join a match. We were floating around, tossing objects to one another, testing the physics systems, and laughing at all sorts of things. It was honestly some of the most fun I have ever had with a video game in my 30 years of gaming. Eventually, I loaded into a round of the multiplayer disc throwing mode that was the whole point of the beta, and it was actually quite boring. Faffing about in the lobby. Oh my. Faffing about in the lobby was way more entertaining. The final game has a single-player campaign that is a great implementation of the mechanics, and the story really sucks you in, but still nothing compares to just freely moving around in zero gravity at your own pace. This was the first time since Super Mario 64 that a game was so revolutionary to me. The challenge aspect of the game, in Mario 64's case, referring to the levels in Peach's castle, just felt like icing on the cake. When I first played Mario 64, I was on cloud 9 if I was simply moving around that starting area outside of Peach's castle. Nothing compared to that sensation until I played Lone Echo. Of course, just like with Mario 64, the novelty wears off eventually, but for a few hours, I was 12 years old again, utterly dumbfounded by what a new dimension of video games was capable of. My moment, I haven't finished Lone Echo, but the moment for me where I understand. I need to vocalize that I get when it's like, dude, this VR thing. You and everyone else watching is like, okay. It's like, I just haven't played it. Like I can't get that excited. Whereas like you talk about Shadow of the Colossus, it's like, okay, I'm playing Shadow of the Colossus, but like I've played third-person games. I've played games where you climb. I get a grip mechanic. I get the concept.
Jones.
But if I like
Shadow of the Colossus VR.
It doesn't. Last Guardian VR exists, but Shadow VR.
Oh my gosh! Like being that small and staring up.
Yeah, maybe just looking at each Colossus. Maybe it just kind of walks around you and you just.
It was guided. Like you don't control it. Like you just go on like climbing up. Like the game climbs for you, and like you're just like you get to the top and you gotta look down at how high up you are. Okay.
This Lone Echo coops you up inside the space station for like 2 to 3 hours of playtime. And what's really great, like you said, is the movement. Again, you just grab an object and just move yourself forward. And you also have boosters, and like they get faster as you go through the game when they give you a little bit more, like, they're like, okay, you're better at this game, so we'll give you a bigger environment to navigate. But But then she's like, oh, we got to go fix something outside of the ship. And then you just go out into open space. And like, so you can see the ship that you're in, and then there's like a bigger station, and then there's like a cluster of something. They're mining something over here. There's all these different locations. And like, the hair stood up on my arm. It's so riveting, like these early experiences.
That console would probably be the one that draws me the most to, like, maybe jumping, like, if I could handle VR, doing that, like, going out and doing, like, spacewalks and stuff like that.
Really, really cozy.
It'd be pretty
the
cool.
only time I felt sick playing Lone Echo is because I just played it for hours, and you just get tired, It's like even your hands get tired playing games. Your back gets tired sitting in a hunched position on a couch. But that moment was crazy. The interacting with the character. It's like one of the only games I've played in VR where like I started to really role play because you're a robot flying around, and so I started to like move and look at her and like move my head around and stuff like that as that potentially that character would. But it's a kind of game where I imagine Ready at Dawn was like, we're going to lose money on this. No one's going to care. Like this is not going to be the big revolution that like it maybe should be or could be. But I just think that's where VR is at. I think, once it becomes a household thing where it's just like everybody, I have my... It's not that I have a PlayStation and Xbox. I got an Xbox or PlayStation and my VR thing, or I have that set up on on a PC. Once it becomes more cost effective, then a lot of people. I just imagine a lot of people are going to like, oh, well, let me go back to play that Lone Echo game I heard a lot about, and be like, wow, this is for the time, very impressive stuff. Brandon K. Gann, for this month, I've struggled to decide what to talk about. Originally, I was going to touch on playing The Witness, Final Fantasy IX. Ugh. Love to talk about Final Fantasy IX. Let's just talk about Final Fantasy IX. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, all for the first time. Whoa. And having varying degrees of enjoyment from each. Woo! Then I decided to read Ready Player One after watching both trailers. Have you read that? Do you read? I'm not putting you on the spot, but like, because I ping pong. Like I'll go a couple months and I'll read like 3 or 4 books, and then I won't read anything for like 7 months.
So I used to do audio books when I had to commute for the drive. Like that's how I did all the Game of Thrones books. Was audiobook.
Oh, yeah. You are a Game of Thrones guy.
Yeah. But I don't... Like, the last book I read was probably, sadly... Like, all I through was probably the book 7 of Harry Potter. Like, a physical book, like, reading it. Yeah.
Will Wheaton does the audiobook for Ready Player One, and it fits it. Will Wheaton's not my favorite audiobook narrator, but... I think you would like Ready Player One. Ready Player One didn't seem feasible to me. It created a future where I was like, I don't buy it. I don't think we'll be at this point. And it definitely felt written in the way that like wanted me to encourage me to like, like this dystopia, we're going to get there. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think so. But I think it's a little too extreme. But they would be like, did you know about this in video games? And I'm like, I did. I know that. I actually, like, that weird random reference. I know that. And, like, even when they were just ping-ponging around, like D&D, early video games, or comics and stuff, I was like, whoa, I am just right as old as this guy is. And so I wonder if a lot of this stuff would be right up your alley.
I mean, the only thing is as opposed to
my
only exposure has been to the movie trailer.
I think the movie's going to be just a different thing.
And the in-my-face references, like, just reference.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I learned my lesson from Scott Pilgrim's movie adaptation that... You're just like gonna dangle all these things and be like, hey, remember this? Remember this? Remember this? Yeah, it's cool to be a gamer, cool to be 80s culture. Yeah, it's all cool. It's like, hey, you're shoving it down my throat. Stop. I was like, oh, no. Yeah, I felt more, what was the other trailer? Some other trailer came out and it made me feel more nostalgic about like 80s stuff than Ready Player One, and I forget what it was now. They came out around the same time, both the trailers. If I remember, I'll chime in again.
And having a better time with the book than I was anticipating. I realized so much in the book is a crowd pleaser. Like, a book definitely wants to make you happy. I realized so much in the trailers is not in the book, or in the wrong place, and instead of discussing that, I relegated it to Cup of Jones. Why? Because God of War got its release date of April 20th, and now I know when at least one of my 13 anticipated games comes out. Maybe talking about how Sony's definitions of early and first half puts their release schedule into new light. But wait! Xbox will now have first-party exclusives day and date of release on its Game Pass service. Sea of Thieves, State of Decay 2, Next Gears, and Halo, all for $10. I know, you know what? Maybe just a simple, these are the 13 games I'm looking forward to, and call that a submission. It was then I realized, I love these people that are like, I wanted to talk about all these things, but instead I'm talking about this. It's like, you did talk about all of them, stop it. Okay. Then I realized January was a busy month for me, and instead of trying to decide what to talk about, why not all of it, except for the anticipated list? So, to conclude, I'll provide bullet points for each topic. The Witness was alright. Final Fantasy IX is number 5 on my Final Fantasy rankings. Ooh, number 5.
Just only in their Final Fantasy rankings too, not not overall games.
But 9, number 5. Just trying to think what could beat. Is 7 in that top 4?
I don't know.
That's the question. That's always the question. I already knowing the twist going into KOTOR, what happens afterward plus the overall game itself really made an excellent experience, and courtesy of Xbox's backwards compatibility, I'm happy to have played one of the best Star Wars games of all time. KOTOR is awesome. How does KOTOR run on the Xbox One? I gotta wonder. I know it worked very poorly on the 360. It was one of those weird games that did not run well. If you watch the Star Wars Retro, the frame rate is terrible.
I haven't played it
because I wanted to play in HD. Or
I picked it up on Steam because you can mod both those to have like a better experience. Like players have gone through and modded them to be much better on PC. So I think PC is the way to play that game.
Movie adaptations never seem to get it right, so Ready Player One as a book will be superior to the movie based off the trailers alone.
Probably.
I agree so. But yeah, Spielberg, he'll make it fun. God of War will be an excellent early birthday gift. And finally, of all the talk and coverage about Game Pass I've seen, only Mr. Hink seemed to mention what stuck out to me. Sign up for $10, download, not stream what you want, then cancel. I don't know how monthly subscriptions work, so unless there is a failsafe built in, I think the program will get heavily exploited. I mean, isn't Microsoft like the failsafe company?
Are you talking about like free? So how does it, like? Are you talking about explaining a free trial or just like subscribing temporarily, leaving and coming back?
Just do it every 6 months, or 4 months. Sign up for $10, download all the stuff that came out in the last 4 months, and then.
But you don't lose access to it after you stop paying?
I don't know. That's the question.
I feel like
you have to. You have to. This is Microsoft, man. These are the people that said you'd have to have the disc in there when the first Xbox One was announced.
You have to lose access. Like once you resubscribe, it just reactivates all those licenses. I think it's a license thing. Like you have after every so often the license is renewed for a certain amount of time, like 30 days. After 30 days, it's like, hey, you haven't like it'll do it automatically if you have an internet connection.
Right.
But I think it reminds you, like especially on PlayStation, it'll be like, hey, sign back online because this license, not sure. And then, some people in chat are saying you definitely lose access to that. Also, it was Stranger Things was the trailer. Thank you, chat, for reminding me. The one I felt, Season 2's trailer.
Dragon Slayer and all that,
like a little bit better, like, 80s like trailer than Ready Player One.
That remix of Thrillers. Taking the audio out.
Yeah.
And that's a sign of a good trailer. I would go back and watch that trailer right now, having seen Season 2, and really enjoy it. Like
that music alone.
That's when you know you got a good trailer. Michelle Jackson. Last month, I talked about my favorite game of all time, Persona 3 Portable. This month, I'll be talking about my second favorite Persona game, Persona 2, which is broken up into Innocent Sin and Eternal Punishment. It's the black sheep of the Persona family. There's no day system or social links, but those systems wouldn't fit well with P2's story, and their absence leads to a more meaningful development for the cast as a whole. I would probably like P2 better than P5. If you've ever passed on a Persona game because you think they're too slow-paced or taken too long to get interesting, P2 are the games for you. They have a flowing, continuous story at a much faster pace. I initially worried that this would mean that the story would suffer, but P2 is perfect for this format. It's bizarre and completely off the rails at times, but still manages to keep its core plot centered around the relationships in a group of people and how they change. The characters are phenomenal, with interesting stories to tell, and the P2 games are the only Persona games to feature partial and fully adult parties. What might be surprising is that P2IS was the first Persona game to do the face your shadow thing, not P4. P2 are also the last Persona games to go deep into series lore. Lore, Damiani. Lore.
SMT lore.
The Persona series may seem to have a lot of loose ends, but most worlds do have concrete explanations, like who's singing and playing the piano in the Velvet Room, what Igor is, and who grants the characters their personas. Persona 2 has a lot of systems that are unique to its games, like the rumor system that allows you to craft and spread rumors that impact the world, such as the price of weapons or the appearance of optional bosses. And the food system that lets you give characters food in exchange for temporary buffs depending on price and the tastes of each party member. Shoji Meguro did not compose for the P2 games, so their music isn't quite as good as others in the series, but it is still very impressive. The game certainly shows its age, but still manages to be sleek and easy to navigate with a really cool visual style that rides the line between 2D and 3D. I urge you to please give these amazing games a shot. You won't regret it. Can you even say Persona and give a shot in the same sentence? Like, can you possibly ever give Persona a shot? There's no, I guess just play it, and then if you don't like it, stop playing. But it's like, those games just demand
Yeah, it's kind of hard to just...
You don't give Skyrim a shot, you know?
Hey, just try it out for an hour, and it's like, oh, you just got through getting to your new house and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Finally settled in my room and stuff. I can finally go out and say hello to people. Yeah, I felt bad because I own both Persona 2s, and I have not touched them yet.
But you got it.
I own them.
So that's when you're admitting it, too. That's brutal. It's a brutal thing to admit to the Easy Allies community, that you own a game. That the only excuse you have is just like...
Well, there was a point before Persona 5 was announced, after Persona 4 came out, and it did well, and I didn't feel like Atlas was really doing anything with it. It was before P4 Golden was announced as well. I was like, I don't know if Atlas is going to give up on this series, or is it just because it remains so underground or so niche? I should just go buy all of them now while they're still available, because this series might just become super hard to get, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, Persona everything, Persona dancing all night, Persona Golden, Persona 5. We'll get Persona 5 Crimson, don't worry.
I accidentally put another comment. I don't need to tell you that, audience. I just got to remember to go back to that. As it's the beginning of the year, Jack Price. As it's the beginning of the year, I've been looking to catch up on some forgotten gems that have been lurking around my Steam backlog. However, as I've been fairly busy in work lately, I wanted something that was fairly short. You just wanted to give it a shot. Nice. After traipsing through my backlog, I came across the perfect title. Call of Juarez Gunslinger.
Which one? I know Call of Juarez. Is that the... I don't remember the original Call of Juarez.
I think the Old West one. I don't know. I've only played one game in the series in the past, that being Bound in Blood, but I recall having fun with it, so I decided to give this game a shot. Initially, I thought that I would get something that would pass the time, but wouldn't leave much to reflect on or give any discernible impact. What I found, however, was an incredibly solid game that's heaps of fun to play. From what I've played of the series in the past, the core difference that this title has is its more arcade-focused gameplay. Levels are more linear, but tightly condensed to ensure that enemy encounters are more frequent and immediate. As the result, gameplay is now centered on a scoring system that rewards unique kills with a combo meter to incentivize chaining kills to achieve maximum efficiency. This change in focus has led to the action in Gunslinger being constantly engaging, encouraging you to get involved in the action, which in turn creates a very lean and exhilarating experience. Helping this even further is the gunplay. The core shooting feels incredibly weighty. Every gun from revolvers to double-barrel shotguns feels appropriately powerful, ensuring that every kill feels impactful. Even the story, whilst not being particularly engaging from a narrative standpoint, is presented in an interesting way. By making use of an unreliable narrator, the game presents many unique set pieces that can be affected directly by the way the story is being told through the narrator's perspective, creating some wonderfully creative tangents in the game. Whilst I can't say this game is brimming with fresh ideas or engrossing narrative threads, what I can say is that the game is a supremely underrated gem in the FPS genre that is a delightful experience. It's certainly worth a playthrough for anyone who is a fan of the genre. So strap on your boots, grab your finest whiskey, and visit the Old West early in preparation for the long haul on October 26th. October 26th, is that something happening on that day? Or is that...
Oh yeah, there's something coming out on October 26th this year. Yeah.
So maybe if you're excited for whatever that is.
Whatever that is.
Call Juarez Gunslinger.
I heard something's coming out that day.
When you talk about backlogs, silly shooters, be they like Wet. Remember Wet?
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Wet is just always, every time I go through my catalog and I see Wet, I'm like, I should just play Wet for like an hour. Like, I should just, it looks fun. I just want to do the splits and shoot a couple shotguns.
Yeah. What was the other one? Like the Velvet something?
Like Bulletstorm. Yeah. It's like, I should just play Bulletstorm for like an hour. Like, just reminds me of those games. You're like, House of the Dead 4, let's do it.
Also, Call of Juarez, I don't remember why I played through the original Call of Juarez at Game Trailers. I don't remember why I played. I didn't review it, for sure. But I had to play through it, and I remember a part where you're in this, field, and someone's, you're trying to be, there's someone trying to kill you, and they set fire to the field, so you gotta, keep moving. Oh. So it's, intense. So you're being, driven towards your assailants, and you're hiding in the brush, but you can't hide for too long. And
That's
I was
cool.
like, oh no, it's this is intense. It's you gotta make a call soon.
I love that. I own a lot of Xbox 360 games. So I was going through, we're all digging into our Dreamcast collection because we almost streamed the Dreamcast games, but our Dreamcast unfortunately died. Moment of silence for the Dreamcast. But I opened up a folder, and it was just crammed with 360 games because we got a lot of games when Game Trailers dissolved, and we're just like, hey, let's just take all the games home. And so I just stuff. I was like, yeah, sure. Force Unleashed 2. Let's do it. I'm never gonna play it, but sure. I think I have every Lego game ever made now. So yeah, tempting. I will. I wonder how one gets Gunslinger now. I wonder if that's backwards compatible. I wonder if that's it's like a free PSN game or something. Alex AI. This January, I have finally finished what can only be described as a very mixed box of flavors of a video game. Clocking in at 151 hours, I have beaten Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Oh, nice.
I actually reached the final chapter around the first week of January, but simply continued doing all the side activities in shorter bursts before going to sleep, and then finished it perfectly for the appearance of Michael Damiani on the community showcase. This game made me respect all of the work that went into creating the locations and cities of Allrest, the world of XC2. They are filled with life and offer the player a lot of opportunities to dig deeper into the stories around and inside Allrest. Especially the score soundtrack made it a lot more pleasant to return to past sections of the game to unlock all the upgrades for the blades and weapons. Talking about the blade system, it is common that in RPGs the majority of weapons are easily forgotten and exchanged at the next best opportunity until you finally reached the ultimate ones, and even then, you often don't get to enjoy these for a long time before the game ends. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 makes you invest in the blades that you find. You get more powerful by traveling with them, and all of them have some additional side stories for you to enjoy. Sadly, the art design can be an acquired taste, and some of the side quests are poorly written. All in all, I hope more RPGs will make the gear that you find more meaningful. Beating XC2 was certainly fun, however, and I always felt that this game lacks polish or needed more time in the oven. For example, there are a few blades that you unlock through quests or finding secrets, yet the majority are locked behind a randomized loot box-esque system, which probably took less time to develop. For me, this journey is put on hold until the bigger DLC updates arrive, and now it is time to start getting into Lost Sphere. I was very hesitant to buy Lost Sphere after touching the demo, but still bought it almost day one. So far, I've put in almost 2 hours and enjoy the mellow overworld theme. That's all for this month. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Damiani. That world looks great. I'm not going to play it because the vibe I got from it is that even when you get to a super high level, if you want to go grind or do side quests or something like that, you can't, like, relax during the battles. Like, you still gotta focus. Like, there's no battle in that game that you can't, like, okay, set this thing up and then do this and then make sure to do this the right order and then I screwed up that
if
thing.
You want battles to go by faster, as I learned the hard way, you need to learn how to play the game right, but it's a little complex at first, but they go by a little faster if you know what to do. If even in remedial battles, if you just kind of like AFK it the fight, they go on for a little too long, even when you're like leveled up a bit higher.
I remember reading that exact line when I VO'd the script, and I was like,
it's just like, really? Like, why did these fights need to go on so long if I'm this high level? Like, most other games of similar nature, just like, yeah, these enemies are like fodder. They shouldn't like just run past them. It's okay. You fought them before.
Yeah.
They were your enemies for earlier in the game, but move past them. These zones have multiple different types of enemies that are of different, like, varying levels. So there are harder enemies in each zone, so you're just going to go fight the other ones. You don't need to spend your time fighting these other ones, but that's not really the crux of the problem. I think it's, just in general, battles can just take a little too long in that game, and, like, the remedial stuff, and it's a nice battle system once you get it, but battles take too long. It's take too long. That's all I'll say. They take a little too long in that game.
And so, yeah, and I feel bad, but it's like, you know, even though that was a deal breaker for me, it wasn't like such a tragic thing because there's so many games in 2018, especially so many RPGs. Randy Verschuren, for the last 3 community showcases, ever since we kicked off the community showcase, has been creating a consistent narrative.
Okay.
And I'm conflicted of whether I should have the guests read the first parts before they get to this part, or whether it's fun to just throw, like, what in the heck is going on? This is part 4.
Okay.
So let me know. I'm actually kind of curious for people. Randy, if you're watching this, which I hope you are, if you want me to update people on the story, then I will. But I kind of like just throwing it at them and seeing what they think. And of course, it is on you. If you're curious, you can go back to the previous episodes.
All right.
And you can check in on parts 1 through 3 of the Randy Verschuren Dream Epic. Part 4. Well, here goes. The water is now close enough for me to feel the vapors of water raising into the clouds, small water drops on my face. Too late for that fear-induced heart attack. Should I take a diver pose? Why do I start asking myself this now, 2 seconds before landing? Then an explosion. Colors everywhere. A misty rainbow cloud is slowly disappearing. I'm not wet, nor am I dead. I don't think so anyway. I can still hear the waves and feel the vapors. Something slowed my fall and bounced me right back up and back down, but this time not as fast or as violent, in a small arc back in the direction of the water. This time, I do land in the water. I go under for just a second. The water feels nice and warm, like I'm in some sort of beach resort. It's calming. I'm floating on my back looking at the sky, as if I'm expecting something to follow behind me. I lay there for minutes when I suddenly realize I just fell for thousands of miles and survived. So yeah, he was plummeting at the end of part 3, I remember. I love it. I love it. And you know why? You know, do you have anything from your childhood that you're like proud of? Where you're like some story that your parents or friends or relatives told you, and you're like, yeah, like yeah, young Damiani, like yeah, you know, like you had your head in the right place. One of my, you don't have to answer that question, but one of my things that I'm proud of is we had a calendar in school, and I probably mentioned this before in the showcase or comments, and they were like, every month we had to write a paragraph. We had to write a page just about something. And then each calendar day would say, like, what's your favorite color? What movie is your favorite movie? Like, and I remember going up to the teacher and being like, can I just write a story? Can I just write, like, a chapter every day of, like, a detective story? And she was like, of course you can. Like, I legitimately thought she was going to say no. I thought she was going to be like, no, do your homework. And she was like, yes, that's what I want. So, you know, like, I want you to all be creative. I want you to, like, just, you know, make up stuff. So I was like, yeah, young Jones, kindergarten Jones. Yeah, so who knows? I think the big question that I have is like, is this, how many parts are there? You know, like, is there an end to this? Is he going to end this and then start another story down the road?
Is this going to be an epic?
Or is this like One Piece?
Yeah. Just, like, yeah. Well, which arc are we in right now?
Exactly. This is part 4, so. Roman numeral part 4 too, so I love the gravitas of the Roman numeral. Aaron Navas, ayo allies! I'm usually more of a listener for these sorts of things, but I wanted to share share a little this time. Unfortunately, I may not have the most jolly of messages for you today, but it means quite a bit to me, and I actually had to trim it to fit the guidelines. We appreciate that, thank you. Sorry. See, I've been part of a small gaming community on GameFAQs known as Relax since I was in middle school. I'm 22 years old now. And I'd wager to bet that this community has helped shape who I am for right around 10 years. We're spread throughout different time zones, which makes playing games together rare, but we talk frequently. I love everything about this. Last year, there was a game announcement that made us all set aside time and plan out a gaming session. That game was Monster Hunter World. Ooh. I had zero familiarity with the franchise, but one user in particular got me to buy it. This user, S19, focused on single player for the majority of the time they've been around, but said that this would get them into multiplayer gaming, so I began my research. Commence hype mode. For good measure, I popped into Twitch to see Ben Moore stream the beta, and I immediately downloaded it to try myself, and then went on to make plans with S19 on release day, in case the other members of Relax fell through. Unfortunately, a few weeks into January, one of our veteran members got a call. It was the mother of S19, calling us to inform us that he had passed away from a random and sudden illness. He was in his early 30s. It was a presence we had around us for 10 years, so needless to say, it hit us pretty hard. While our community may not play together often, we all agreed that something had to be done. We made the plans, and on S19's birthday, February 23rd, we're getting a full squad together on both platforms, and we're hunting down the devil dragon himself, Diablos. Not for us, not for the loot, but for S19. Thank you very much for reading. S19 was an eccentric, kind, and genuine person, but more than that, he was someone I considered to be a dear friend. 400 words does not begin to do him justice. Relax in peace, 19. You will surely be missed. Hashtag for S19. Woo!
Oof,
do you play MMOs a lot? Is that I know I would imagine you've seen headlines of people having services for stuff. They had a service for Carrie Fisher in Tor in Old Republic. They went to the Organa Temple on Alderaan.
I mean, I've seen in 14 on the 14 subreddit. There's been at least 2 times I've seen on servers someone in an FC or someone in a raid group like passed away, and they do like an in-game memorial service or something like that. So they do nice things like that. They keep it classy. So it's nice to see like gamers coming together to do something like that. Like, I hate to bring this up, but like this was my first exposure to like people trying to do their own kind of like.
Oh, I know exactly what you're going to talk about.
I know, but like I had no idea about that.
I can even think of the music now from that video.
I thought I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? But in the end, it was 2 layers of, as far as I know, I don't know the story because I don't know the whole lore behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Just as I've read up on like wikis and stuff, people in that community were trying to pay respect by making a
World
line.
of Warcraft, right?
Yeah, World of Warcraft, going up, paying their respects to this player.
Yeah.
But apparently the player loved PvP in the game. Like, at least that's what was said. I'm sorry, I'm laughing about this subject. Sometimes it's black humor, people.
Right.
It's dark humor is like,
Right.
This is how it is. They wanted to, like, they felt like this person would love what we're about to do. Like, going in and trolling this thing and doing a PvP fight, like, they would, like, they're going to roll in their grave, but in a happy way.
I remember even thinking at the time that I was like, man, there's no way that event is not going to get, which is nice that this is like an exclusive thing that they're doing. Like, we know this is going to be a private thing. This is just for us. What this makes me think of is, I think of like that South Park episode where he's like, why don't you go outside and play with your friends? And he's like, Dad, I'm getting XP with my friends and loot using TeamSpeak. And, there is this, this difference, I think, between, an older generation that did not grow up playing video games and this younger generation that is meeting people, especially people from other countries. That's incredible. Like he said in his community, he's like, we don't get to play games a lot together because we're all in different time zones. It's why we're doing the showcase at, the sun is still out because we want as many people, to watch this that are actively, sending in comments. And I wonder, they're doing this for the group, and it's the group going in to have a significant moment to honor the memory of this person they played with online. And their mom contacted them, which I think is fascinating. Like, what if she didn't? Like, what if they didn't have any relationship with her? And so I wonder, as gamers get older and have kids that are also playing games, and they themselves are playing games, where moments like this in games will grow in how many people observe them, how many people know they actually happened, and the impact that they have. Like, I wonder if S19's mom could find some, not necessarily closure, because she'll never find closure, but like, this will help her transition through this process, knowing that her son meant so much to these other people, knowing that he had this impact in this digital world. But it's like, from her perspective, I don't know how old she is. I don't know what contact that his mom had with entertainment that she could understand the significance of something like that.
Yeah, I would never dare to speak for someone how they handle grief. I
just think it's fascinating. But I would love to see at a memorial service this mentioned, But I'm not saying it would always be appropriate. I just wonder if in 10 years we'll see something like that, with things more like this. I just think it's a beautiful way to recognize somebody that, especially in this environment. I just think it's obviously S19 had a totally different relationship with his family. He had a totally different relationship with his friends that he knew in person that he would see. But he also had a totally different relationship with this other community. And it's interesting to recognize that.
It's still good that this person was a part of like a community that at least felt, at least some dignity to like honor them, even if it was in like a virtual world and stuff. Because there's also like the coldness and finality of like death.
Yeah.
Because, bring it up real quick, I was watching Alien last night, when Kane dies, first member, they're like, and Dallas like, anyone want to say something? Everyone's just dead silent. Just shoot him into space, like nothing. It's just like bye, like that's it.
It's
the
like, score.
It's just like. Yeah, it could be like that. It could be so
especially for that crew, and they all know they could all die in an instant. It's like anytime you get it in space.
Yeah.
Aaron, thank you so much for sharing that with us. That was
yes, thank you.
A very special thing, a very interesting conversation, and I'm sure we would. It's our hopes here at Easy Allies that everything you just described about that we can be a service to other people, meeting each other. I'd hate to have a submission from somebody saying that we lost an ally somewhere. But it would give me a lot of pleasure to create a platform to recognize people. Caesar Villa, January's been a slow month for my gaming. Felt slow. It was kind of nice after just 2018 being just bonkers. Are you playing Monster Hunter World a lot? Is there any game you were just like obsessed with this month?
So like I'm finishing up Dissidia. I'm still playing some of that. I still want to play the portable Dissidia. I still want to play the mobile Final Fantasy 15. I want to play Final Fantasy 12 on PC. I got that. And then I have Faye coming up that I'm going to review.
Right.
So it's like,
I'm
it hasn't really slowed down. It hasn't been major new releases, but just like, here's just a bunch of other stuff.
So what Dissidia are you playing? Is that like the new one?
The new one's the arcade port. console version of the arcade one that came out a few years ago.
Yeah.
So it's on PS4 only. And then there's the mobile phone one.
But that like just came out, right?
Yeah, it came out a week ago.
Came out to PS4. Oh, cool. I didn't know.
Yeah, it came out the very last day of January 30th.
Cool.
It's been 1 week.
I'd like to like that game, but that was frustrating. I'm still working on Super Mario Odyssey, so that comment is still cooking. I was planning on using this month to share one of my old gaming memories, but then the mini direct came and changed my plans. The World Ends With You is back.
Oh,
and I couldn't be more hyped. I love this game in the DS. Awesome score. Yes, Jones, I put attention to your dissertation between score and soundtrack. Thank you. Setting, characters, combat system, weapon progression, and it even had Street Pass-like features before Street Pass was even a thing. I miss Street Pass. I hope the Switch... They can't get it because the tech's not in there, right? I mean, can't add the tech via download.
What do you mean?
For it to pick up other Switches.
I think it can.
If you're near a Switch.
Because you can add friends by being in close proximity, I thought, with Switch. I haven't tried it.
Pound for pound, even with all of the games I played on 3DS, Street Pass was my favorite experience on that system. I loved Street Pass.
I love going into our office every day.
Going to PAX.
Going to conventions. But it's been long enough. I mean, it's still around, but like it's been long enough since I used it. I think I've kind of moved on. I don't need it again.
I know tangent because it's not World Ends With You specifically, but I love that they recognized the second Street Pass. Like, this is the second time we Street Pass each other, because I would hit people at Disneyland. And there's no way that I just happened to be there. That is an employee that has it in his backpack. Because I'm like, I didn't get close to lockers or anything. Like, I'm not close to where they keep their stuff.
You know what's up.
That was a Disneyland employee that had the 3DS on him. And I love that.
They're just killing two birds.
And I couldn't be more hyped. Before... This is a game where I logged 265 hours and still haven't gotten 100%. A game so dear to me that because... There's a lot of hours talk on the Community Showcase. There's a lot of the investment. 265. A game so dear to me that because it only has one save file, I even considered buying another DS cartridge so I could play it from the beginning again. I guess my problem is solved now since I will definitely buy this new version. However, I do have some concerns. Did you play World Ends With You?
So
Can you give a reference on this?
I played a little bit when I first, because it just came out when I started Game Trailers originally. Bloodworth had just reviewed it, was doing a ton of gameplay. I got to play it before I came to Game Trailers at a preview event that they did at their offices before I actually worked at Game Trailers. And so I got to play it for a little bit. I remember like the 2-screen thing and controlling the 2 characters and something about like the buttons, the flare or whatever that like you had to buy at a store. And that's really all I remember about it. I don't remember too much else about it.
Tempted to play it on...
Oh yeah, I'll definitely try it on Switch, especially after how much like Brad has like professed his love for this game and like just said like how good it is.
You know what I'm excited about? A DS game coming to Switch. Because I was worried that with the dual screens for DS and 3DS, that they were like, it doesn't work. They were hesitant, So it's like, have you seen? Is it gonna be full screen? Is it gonna just be like, both
so
screens there?
It's gonna be reworked. They re-released.
I think that's exciting.
They re-released World Ends With You on smartphones, and they reworked the gameplay to fit on one screen. Some people weren't happy about that because the bottom character is like automatic, so you can't mess that up anymore. And that was like part of like the hook. I am going to imagine they're going to do something similar, but who knows? They can maybe tweak it to do something to kind of bring back that dual element even without having 2 screens. Who knows? But, yeah.
However, I do have some concerns.
Okay.
The original game is designed for 2 screens.
There you go.
While there is already a version that uses only 1 screen for iOS and Android, I've never played that one, so I'm still a little concerned about how that works. The game uses 3 types of experiences for your weapons. 1 is obtained in battle, a second game is obtained by not playing, and a third game with that Street Pass-like feature I mentioned. The third one is the one I'm puzzled about how they solved it. And last, how much will this cost? The DS version was $40 USD, a fair price for such a large game. Then the iOS and Android versions came and slashed that price in half. I'm not sure of the reason, but I think it was to stay competitive in the respective stores where most games are free to start. Now with Switch, will Square get greedy and charge $60? Would they be reasonable and charge $40? I meant $30 maybe.
No, Square Enix always does the Square Enix premium tax.
Even on consoles? I know they do the mobile. Their mobile prices are outrageous.
It'll probably be at least $40.
Okay. Or are they going to be coherent and stay at $20?
No, they will not.
Coherent is a dig. I love it.
No.
I'll find out soon, but not soon enough. I'm eager to get back to Shibuya, walk those streets in front of the 104 building, say hi to Hachiko, and visit the cat mural. I hope I said all of that correctly. The World Ends With You is back! All caps, exclamation point. You gotta yell it.
Excitement.
What?
That's excitement.
Oh. Outcast writer. So I was watching TV the other day when a certain Alka-Seltzer commercial came on. I wasn't paying attention to it as I was writing at the time, so I had to double check. And to my stunned surprise, I saw someone I recognized. I shouted, "That's Amanda!" My wife looked at me confused. "It's Jones's wife." I clarified, and a smile of recognition came to my wife's face. Even to your wife's face, that's awesome. It was such a weird, wonderful sensation to see someone I knew on the TV, and I couldn't help but shout, "I know that person!" Anyways, I thought you might enjoy that little story, and I hope the Allies and Amanda have a great February. Here's to more commercials for Amanda, love and respect. Bless you for wishing that. Here's more commercials for Amanda equals nothing but good things for Easy Allies. Nothing but positivity for this little endeavor. If you
Well, I was back home, Jones. I saw Amanda on a commercial and went to tell everyone, "Oh, that's Brandon's wife. That's Amanda." Yeah. No one was around me. Everyone was like doing something else. I was like, "Oh, one time."
I don't go to. Yeah, I don't watch TV at the gym anymore because I work out with Sean and we work out at a small gym. But I used to go to a big gym and I was always that nerd that was like nobody cares. Like, yeah, I mean it's good to hear that stuff too because from Amanda's perspective, they don't tell her when that stuff airs. They don't tell her where she can go to watch it. No.
Whoa! Wow! I didn't know that.
No.
That's weird.
Amanda has auditioned, booked, shot commercials.
She never ever seen?
Nothing happens. And not only nothing happens, like she doesn't get an email that's like, "We regret to inform you, we won't be showing this commercial." They just won't show it. Like a year later, she'll just be like at an audition and see the actor and see the actor she was in it with and be like, "What the hell happened?" And he's like, "Oh, a friend of mine works with someone at their agency and they said they had a problem with something." We watched the Super Bowl one year being like, "Is it gonna happen?" And they didn't air her Super Bowl spot. We're just
wow.
So, yeah, I don't know if I could put up with that.
Sounds harsh. Yeah.
She just auditioned for a big thing, and she's like, "When do you think I'll hear back?" And I'm like, "It could be years. It could literally be." Someone was talking on. I've been watching the Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee on Netflix, the Seinfeld show, and he was talking with someone about some big book. I think it was The Daily Show or something with Trevor Noah getting on. It was something of that caliber. And they were like, "I didn't hear back for a year." SNL, I think it was. Who's the lead in Ghostbusters? The new one? Who was in Bridesmaids? What's her name? She didn't hear for years. And they actually, she came out to New York and like was there and they didn't put her on the show. And she was just like in New York, like helping write and stuff. And then they were just like, "So we'll put you in the sketch." And she's like, "Oh, so I'm on now? Okay, great." You know, like there's really little courtesy with actors as far as like, here's what's going to happen. Like you just kind of got to cross your fingers and hope things work out. So, long story short, not to complain, but like, so when people say, "Hey, I saw her," it's always great to hear that because we don't know. Like we don't, like I remember for a while the NBA like loved her. Like any commercial she was in, like people would be like, "I was watching basketball and saw your spot." And so it's good to know like where to find these things. But yeah, what's really been a treat being married to Amanda is I then know through her a lot of other actresses and actors that, or just actors, sorry, that are in commercials. And so I get that all the time. Especially Rob Kirkovich, who we just previously mentioned. Two gals that worked with him on Summer of Tears, they're in a bunch of spots. Nick Massou, who used to work with the Summer of Tears, is in a bunch of stuff. And so it's funny to be like, nah, like, especially if they're like a mom. "Oh, my kids, I gotta use my Tide thing to get out that stain." And you're like, "You don't have kids."
Jeez.
Like, I love.
Yeah, I was surprised. Like the first time I saw Kirkovich in anything, it was the Iron Man, the Dr. Pepper thing, and they put him in Iron Man. So I was like,
"Oh yeah, him! Oh man, he was with Stan Lee. That's right."
I was like, "Whoa, dude, you have to be
best one." The best Rob Kirkovich commercial though was the Starbucks. Did you ever see that? That was before I met him.
No.
And he came to work at Game Trailers, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, I did other spots at a Starbucks thing." I was like, "What Starbucks things you do?" He's like, "Oh, I was." I had a mascot of me, and there was like a crowd that would cheer me on wherever I would go, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And this is after I'd known him for like 6 months, and I like brought it up on YouTube, and I'm like, "That's totally Rob." And it's a commercial where he's like, he takes the double shot of Starbucks, and everywhere he goes, there's a crowd like, "Yeah," like cheering him on, and he's like, "Oh, thanks."
Yeah.
And at the end, he goes in for a job interview, and there's a whole like stadium of people cheering, and there's a guy dressed up as him with a Rob Kirkovich head in a brown suit who's like doing a dance.
And they do the song. It's like Rob.
Yeah. Or Bill, or whatever his name is in the commercial.
Or whatever his name was, yeah.
And it broke my heart because I was like, surely they let you keep the mascot of you. And he was like, "No, they didn't let me keep that."
Not.
I'm like, dude, there's like a giant Rob head and you don't own that. Tangent, sorry. But it's funny, it's a weird business.
Yeah,
Jason A. Sackle who does not have the longest comment. Sorry, Jason. I was pumped for Dragon Ball FighterZ, but wondered what to play as I waited for that release. Should I buy a game that I missed out on? Nah. Should I finally crack open the SNES mini thingy sitting on my shelf and finally give Final Fantasy VI a whirl?
Wow. You maybe should do that.
Maybe.
Just have a SAS Classic sitting unopened.
Maybe another time.
Maybe not.
I can skip your comment, Jason. I can just move on.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you now. Shall I take a gander as what's free this month on PS Plus? It's there. No cables. Sure. Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. The game started off with a long cutscene that I am guessing covered previous games. With that one cinematic, I was over the story. Jason's a tough customer. I couldn't care anymore about anything that happened in that game. Didn't think it was possible to check out of a story quicker than Horizon. I fiddled around with the game for a few hours, but ultimately I was just having a miserable time. I tried. Batman Telltale Season 1. I have no love for the character of Batman.
What can I write to make Jones as angry as possible? Step 1, Horizon, not good. Step 2, Batman. Bye, Batman. What next? Disney World sucks. I bet that's the next one. Disney is trash.
This is Jason Sackle. This is a man I've met in person many times. This guy knows how to push the buttons. Woo! All right, okay. I rarely read any superhero comics as a kid. I get it. My only knowledge of superheroes is from the MCU or other movies. In that instance, yeah, I would like Marvel more than DC too. Yet I still had fun with this. There we go. It'll be interesting to see where they take it for Season 2 if it gets a PS Plus release as well, that is. Meaning he's not going to buy it. He wasn't impressed. He didn't have that much fun. I also played a few betas. Dissidia, Final Fantasy NT. Yeah, no. To be fair, aside from 9, I have no love for any Final Fantasy game. Well, it's because you haven't played them. You haven't played 6. It's a fascinating thing to describe things you have not experienced as having no love for them. I have, it's like wherever I've never been to Greece. I have been to Greece. I've never been to Amsterdam. It's one of the places in Europe I really want to travel. I got no love for Amsterdam. I have no love for climbing Everest.
I would love this person's comment.
I have no love for,
They just need to finish up by saying, I actually don't really like video games. One of my sole enjoyments out of life is just writing into you, Brandon.
Right, that's it. Yeah.
And telling you what I don't like.
Right. I've yet to touch any before 7, though.
Okay.
There you go. You like 4 more than 6 officially, right?
Yes. I do.
Oh boy. So that experiment ended quickly. Dragon Ball FighterZ. While waiting, might as well play the beta, and play I did. Had a blast. Got the game. Still having lots of fun with it.
All right.
Monster Hunter World. When I tried this back at PSX, I thought this was hot garbage. When I played the beta earlier this month with some buddies, I enjoyed it. Hot garbage! They said they were going to pick it up, so I figured I would as well. I don't like where this is going. Needed a new Destiny to play with them. Quote-unquotes with Destiny as well. One of those games where I only hop in to play with them and shoot the shit. So I got it, played it, hooked. I've been having an absolute blast with it, and have been playing more of this than FighterZ. So there we go. Metal Gear Survive. It did not survive on my PS4 for very long. But that's just the co-op. It's just the co-op, though. The single player is pretty...
Did not survive.
Sea of Thieves seems fun. Still don't know if I want to buy it, though. Seems fun.
Seems fun.
Not sure.
Might be.
Seems fun is something you say about a game you haven't played. Once you play it, though, it's like, I can't tell. Another one of my... Dude, probably the South Park line I quote than any other line. And arguably one of the top 10 South Park episodes, you cannot argue this question, is the Chimpokemon. Chimpokemon to this day, man, will just cut me. I will be on the floor, tears. I love Chimpokemon so much. And
episode one Emmy, right?
I don't know. Yeah. But when they go to the conference for Chimpokemon and Cartman's, and the thing that's so funny about the line too is they do a wide when he does it, where you just see Cartman's head and their heads amongst like all these kids, and Cartman's like, is this cool or not? I can't tell. And I love just that vibe of like, I don't know. I just can't. Is this cool or not?
Oh, Chimpokemon.
I can't tell. So there you go. Their update from Jason A. Sackle. But one thing that I do like, though, Jason, that I'm glad you did, is giving us a PS Plus update. I do like people. Sometimes we get posts from people in the comments and now in the showcase where they're like, I don't have a lot of money to play on games, so these are games that came out in 2017, 2016. You're very engaged with chat. You're in a good position to watch chat, but you're very you're looking at chat much more than people in previous showcase episodes. Rob Barker. After getting laid off from work, I'm sorry, Rob, late last year, and having to cut down on all expenses, I'm glad to say that at the start of January, I got back to full-time work and finally got my first wage through.
Nice. Congrats.
Awesome. I am very happy to be able to resume my monthly pledge to you guys, and
I finally got a job so I could repledge easy. It's like,
right?
Priorities.
Huge thanks for all the great content you make. While you have nothing but time on your hands while looking for work, it's great to have other regular videos to watch to keep the spirits up. Love and respect from a very appreciative patron.
Very nice.
Love
and respect back.
Feels good. Chum Nguyen. Monster Hunter World has consumed me. Other than an awful workload, I haven't been able to do much else. Love how you can launch your friend into the air to let them mount a monster or wake them up if they are dizzy or push them away and even save their lives. You can push people? That's cool.
I mean, yeah, but you can do that in previous Monster Hunters. Like, it's not new.
Oh, be it, but I mean,
it's a good
World
thing.
is new to...
Oh, yeah. It's taking a lot of people to finally play it.
It's new to me for sure. So much to learn, and farming things is interesting enough. The game does so many things right, but there are downsides too. How co-op works is kinda bad. I was using a hammer that looked like the staff from Card Captor Sakura.
Okay.
Card Captor Sakura? Is there...
Anime.
Are you familiar?
Card Captor Sakura.
So I even customized text to make her, my character, say something like, "Return to your true form, Clow Card." And when you and your friend get in a line of fire and faint is such a harsh thing. But man, this game has given us so many great moments. Played with Jason Sackle, again. But I hope we get other pals in too. Congrats to Damiani winning the tournament. We'll see if you will take throne back from Huber this year. I guess just the last tournament we did. Did you win the last?
Well, that was the tournament I designed to win myself. So
you admit it.
That was the whole point of it, was to make a tournament that you would win.
That was a botched tournament, I got to admit. That was one of those group streams where you're like, okay, all right, we'll take lessons from that. That didn't go the way I necessarily wanted to, but I had to paint, so I had priorities. You seem engrossed in thought. What do you think about that stream?
I mean, it wasn't what we advertised, but I feel in the end it was a much more entertaining thing that we were originally gonna do.
It's true, potentially.
Playing Street Fighter V as a tournament thing. I think people like seeing us suck at Super Mario Brothers is pretty funny.
Kyle Lee, the GOTY stream was wonderful. Good to hear. And things didn't get nearly as tense as I worried it would. They didn't. And that doesn't necessarily mean they won't. When we talk about GOTYs, we have no idea what the GOTYs are going to be like. I think this was a mild year. I was actually very surprised when we began the Persona 5 Zelda debate, when it finally got down between those two games. And even before we started talking about it, I was like, oh, it's Zelda. I didn't know. I was like, oh wow, it's actually Zelda. And it's like you don't know until it's that moment when it finally comes. Like, you don't know what kind of deliberation, where people's heads are at. You don't know if somebody's gonna walk in like, there were moments where I was like, maybe Persona is the game of the year. I don't know. Like, when I was really weighing like the positives, I'm like, wouldn't it be a coup if I like walked in? It was like Persona.
Persona 5.
During the discussion for Best Trailer, something was brought up regarding Breath of the Wild, which really rang true to me. The story trailer that was nominated will likely stand as one of my favorite trailers of all time. The swelling music and emotional scenes on display hit me hard the first time I watched it, and even after pouring over 100 hours into the game, that I also have done. A lot of people are throwing the 100 numbers out. I definitely have played more than 100 hours of Zelda. The trailer still holds the power to make me a weeping mess, but that created a problem I don't know if Nintendo was anticipating, which was briefly brought up in this discussion. That trailer made me think Breath of the Wild was going to be a totally different game. One that was going to bring to fruition all of the various emotions I've had with the Zelda series since I first sat down to play Link's Awakening when I was 5 years old. While I have not beaten the game, I can't help but feel disappointed in what actually is there. Story beats with emotional payoffs are few and far between, and for the most part, I was bored by the music that played through most of my time with the game. I'm currently taking a break from it to play Night in the Woods before moving on to Nier Automata, but I hope when I return, I'll find more satisfaction than the first 100 hours. While I understand a lot of that comes down to the way I built up the game in my head, after a year while I played some of the most emotionally satisfying games I've ever gone through, it's hard not to be a little bit disappointed. This might be a roundabout way of saying, Persona 5, GOTY for life. Yes, still. I get it. I think the story of Zelda serves the game, but like, there was not a cutscene I cared about. I mean, all of those memories, I was never like, oh, it was just like, oh, okay, cool.
I see that. There's specific
check off the list.
I do feel like when it comes to some of their games, especially Zelda, it would really benefit Nintendo to hire someone or have someone who can point out to them that people are going to walk away. There are certain people who are going to walk from this trailer with these expectations. Just to tell them, like, maybe you should do a different trailer. Like that's a great trailer, and it sells the game really well. But at the same time, it came at setting it up for some people to be something it wasn't.
Yeah.
I think a just as effective trailer, it might have gone down as one of the greatest trailers, but would have got people hyped. Just a montage of them showing off the crazy crap you could do, and all launching with the tree, going up, like all that crazy stuff, which everyone like. That's what kept everyone like watching it on Twitch. Like, holy crap, you can do this now.
Right. You know what you're describing? The best trailer of 2017, the Easy Allies best trailer of 2017, Super Mario Odyssey. I mean, like that's that to me is why that trailer still holds up.
Yes,
because there is some stuff going on that I didn't do in that game that I've never seen. Where I go back and watch Zelda, and it's like, yeah. You know, it's like, that's that game.
That game did not need a story trailer. I think that would have spoken
at
volumes.
all. It's an interesting
if they
take.
decided
That's
not
a hot
to
take.
They decided not to put one out. It basically would have been saying, hey, story might not be as important in this game. Play the game.
Right.
Play the game. Enjoy the game.
And I think one of the things why I still felt confident in making that my game of the year was the story is about loneliness. You know, the story is about distance. It's about contact, you know, trying to communicate with people, having a secret, you know, like not being able to give people information, kind of being like a fish out of water, you know, like you are a part of this world, but you're not. Like you're kind of like how they talk about like when people cross dimensions, they have a different resonance, you know, and like I got that vibe that like he was here, but he was not. He's kind of like a ghost almost. And so having the story be really kind of wishy-washy and never really getting to the point and still creating this mystery, which is when I played the DLC and I was like, come on, they didn't actually like show them fighting and losing and actually really get into more of like what happened. Like maybe even seeing some of the Guardians like talk about like, you know why I failed? This. Like it was this part of my training that wasn't up to snuff. It was this moment that I knew I wasn't going to defeat Ganon, you know, like just a little bit more. But at the same time, just the whole vibe of that game says like, you're probably not going to get the story that you want. At least that's what I got. But my expectations were a little low going into it. And I think that, like you was saying, my expectations for the story were really high. And my expectations were not. Because I hadn't cared about a Zelda game that much for a while. DMC Master, recently I've gotten into a franchise that I remember watching a trailer for back on G4 that had me and my cousin in awe at its mere concept. However, over the years, said franchise just never clicked for me. Between all the entries on PS2, PSP, Wii U, and 3DS, the series always seemed to fail at sinking its fangs into me. However, after playing a few betas, I can say that Monster Hunter has finally got a bite on me. And damn, does it feel good. While it's one of those games I have to be in a certain mood to play. However, when the mood does strike, I do sink a serious amount of time into it. Often then I've decided to try and start streaming my play sessions more frequently, mostly with Monster Hunter because as a relative noob, I could use all the help I can get, as well as I only have a basic understanding of what the hell I'm doing. Speaking of streaming, I've also been streaming my recent import pickup, Dragon Quest XI. While I understand even less I normally would from my regular import purchase due to the game having no voice acting, but I can't help but want to sink time into it. Been trying to play Dragon Ball FighterZ. Been playing online on occasion, but every time I seem to get a day off to try and attend some local setups, I get called into work at the last minute. Yay. Well, I do hate, capital Y on the yay, but I'm assuming that was a sad yay.
Yeah.
Well, I do hate to use this to self-promote my own channel this way. If anyone wants to see a bit of Dragon Quest or help give me some tips for Monster Hunter, my YouTube is the same name as here. Admittedly, my streaming habits are inconsistent at best, sometimes being half hour, others 2 or more, and I'm finicky about whether or not I'll have a mic set up. So it's DMC Master, DMCMASTER on YouTube. Yeah, pimp yourself out. And that's the last comment, actually. We're finally getting into media. But one thing that one of our people, our video that we will show at the end, did a little montage of one of the games he's been streaming that I think you're going to dig this. And so if you want to show us clips of some streams that you've done, that would be a lovely way to contribute to the showcase. But it's up to you. So there we go. Thank you for sitting and listening to me talk about all that stuff, Damiani.
I'm curious to know people who are jumping into Monster Hunter World, why they didn't jump into Monster Hunter 3, basically, Monster Hunter Tri, especially the Wii version, because Wii was a cheap system, it had a lot of adopters, Monster Hunter Tri sold very well, or Monster Hunter 3, it's Monster Hunter Tri and Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate or whatever is the Wii U version. So that was the Wii version. Wii version had voice support, it was kind of janky, but like, I remember that was the one that finally got a bunch of my friends to, like, we played it. We played online for a month straight for that game when it came out. So I'm curious why World is the one that's getting a lot more people to jump in over the Wii version? Like, is it just because the graphics look better?
Dude, for me, yeah. Like,
Is that it?
For me, there's two major things. One, it's the best looking Monster Hunter ever made. So it's like when you keep seeing new versions of it. That's why like I would see people play it on 3DS. I remember one time I was waiting to get into PAX and I was in like the long winding line, and like 4 people in front of me were all co-oping Monster Hunter, and I was just sitting like watching them all play. And I'm like, yeah, I can't, my thumb would just explode with pain if I tried to like move that much. That's why I didn't like to play really like crazy action heavy 3DS games. But for me, it was clear that like, okay, it's on PS4, it's getting a lot of hype. It's is it exclusive PS4
right
world?
now.
Yeah,
It'll be PC eventually.
but I'm like, it's gonna be exclusive. So I anticipate a lot of the allies are gonna get excited about it. It just seemed like a zeitgeist was building, and so I'm like, I want to be a part of that. It seems like time. Just like kind of like Yakuza. It's like, I played 0 a little bit, but 6 might be time to finally jump into all that stuff. But yeah, it's interesting. Why is everybody into it? So here we go. This is a very interesting one from
all
Small Leviathan. I think I actually put that over here. Yeah. So we don't need the Exciting Kids summer camp. I'm not a particularly nostalgic person. I prefer to live in the present, and I typically think that things get better as time goes by. That said, this January, the nostalgia has pulled me back into the past, to the year 2013, and the height of Homestuck's popularity. I've mentioned Homestuck briefly when talking about Hive Swap on previous showcases, but I've never had the chance to go into much detail. We gotta get what? What does that mean?
So, I'm sorry, I have a very negative association with Homestuck. From all my years going to anime conventions, Homestuck cosplay and Homestuck fans were obnoxious as hell. Very annoying, very inconsiderate of like con goers in general.
Except for Small Leviathan. I'm sure if Small Leviathan...
Oh, no, yeah. I'm just talking about people like a small part of the fan base.
Right.
That was my only exposure to it, and I was just like, oh, jeez, like what the hell is this? Like, stop like taking up all the space at the convention and like being loud and obnoxious. Like every other fandom is being nice and civilized. You all are running like amok and destroying everything. It's chaos.
I can imagine that's like if you're a Raiders fan or something, and you're just like, yeah, I'm sorry for. There could be like some weird contingents if you like Overwatch, but can agree like, yeah, part of the community is pretty weird. To give you the short version, Homestuck is a webcomic about 4 kids that receive beta keys to a multiplayer game called Spurb. As they start playing, they soon learn that Spurb will destroy their universe, but their reward for beating Spurb will be the creation of a new universe. As they play, they're hounded by a group of internet trolls that are revealed to actually be trolls, groups of aliens whose Spurb session resulted in the creation of the human universe. Something went wrong, however, and now the 2 groups must team up against a great threat working behind the scenes. It's hard to overstate how important Homestuck was for me personally. It was an unparalleled piece of media and changed the way I viewed narrative structure, character development, and a ton of other things. Homestuck's popularity has died down since then, but the release of the first episode, Hive Swap, has seen a small resurgence in the fanbase. Hive Swap is set in the same universe, but is unrelated to the events of the comic. It's a point-and-click game starring the 14-year-old Joey Claire, as she is pulled from her home by a mysterious portal, transporting her to Alternia, the center of a dangerous dystopian empire and the home planet of the Trolls. If any of this sounds even remotely interesting, I implore you to try out Hive Swap. I implores you. It's a great game, and Act 2 is coming this spring. Finishing the submission off, I had a fun idea. Everyone that plays Spurb is given a title, composed of one of 12 classes and one of 12 aspects. If the player completes a certain set of tasks, they will be able to ascend to God tier, giving them supernatural powers tied to their titles. With that said, here is my take on what titles the Allies would receive if they played Spurb, based on speculation on my part. So, we have Bloodworth is the Mage of Light, Bossman is the Rogue of Rage, Don Casanova, who's just labeled as Casanova here, is the Thief of Void, Damiani is the Prince of Breath. Why is that your Zelda and Avatar love? Maybe is giving you more like an elemental.
I look like a Zora with the Water Tribe, right? I mean, looks sort of like the Water Tribe, but
I like
it.
I like it like the forearm, the sweat bands. Ellis is the Heir of Time with the tail. I guess they all have tails. This is a little more pronounced though. Ian is the Maid of Space. Excellent. Huber is the Bard of Hope. I like his underwear. Why is he wearing tidy whities? Jones I look badass. I look like the Kylo Ren of this universe.
Oh my gosh.
I am the Knight of Blood. I don't know why Blood isn't the Knight of Blood. And Ben is the Page of Life. I don't know if Ben would be into his color scheme, but I like his hat. I mean, I couldn't say any more about me. I look super sweet. Yeah, because if the hype's too much, if he pees himself, you know, and it's just too much to take.
Oh my gosh,
that's excellent. Thank you so much. I love that. I love using different diagrams. There's 9 of us, and so it's kind of fun to do like a crew. I love somebody that did the D&D chart of all of us.
Good stuff.
Thank you so much for that submission. Small Leviathan.
Nice. Good stuff.
And then, dude, this is out of control. So, yeah. Ian Barker. Hi, allies. Last month I submitted some of my Metroid redesign concepts, but unfortunately didn't edit my comment in time. So here's another try.
All right, let's see it.
Dude, you ready for this?
Whoa.
Included are the Samus redesigns in the concept stages, as well as finished designs for Chozo, Ridley, and Zero Suit upgrades, plus an illustration of the Fission suit. Fission suit, probably. Fission? Fission.
Fusion?
Fusion. Fission.
It's supposed to be
Fission
Fusion,
suit?
I thought.
I wanted to make the
Fission.
designs markedly different from what we're used to, while still clearly being Metroid. I was especially inspired by the way the gameplay in Metroid forms a bond between player and environment, so I tried to express that in Samus's design. Thanks so much for all you do, and I hope you enjoy. I definitely enjoy it. So yeah, we got Samus up there, and then we got... I gotta be able to scroll, right? What can I scroll?
I guess you're...
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Jeez.
So yeah, we got the suit.
So the Varia suit.
I like the spikes. I just love the colors.
Fusion suit.
Got like Carnage, or who's the Zord from Power Rangers? Who's the second guy? The guy after Rita?
Oh, Lord Zed.
Zed. He looks like Zed. Zed's dead, baby.
Jeez, those are supposed to be like Chozo right there, aren't they?
Yeah,
Ridley.
Chozo. Does it look sweet? There's a little close up of Lord of Samus.
Whoa.
Yeah, on the bottom. That's like the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. The hair is interesting. Her attitude, she has not taken any guff, this Samus. This Samus is just no. But absolutely beautiful, and I love that there's so many of them. Very impressed.
Very cool.
Also, yeah, I didn't put this up, but Small Leviathan also has an explanation of all of their traits.
Oh, nice.
That you can go to. You can check the link after if you want to go and peruse all of this stuff. But just, yeah, one more time for the fans. Just, beautiful Metroid art. Interesting to see, like, the knee pads, because, like, if you're designing the suit, and I wonder if anybody ever, like, broke this down, but, like, does that suit make sense that it rolls up into a ball?
I mean, it has an explanation, but
is there like a chart somewhere that like shows
there's well, I mean, there's also lore about how it works with her body and stuff about the technology.
Oh, okay.
So
she can like break her bones or something.
Yeah, it's explained, but it's still like a normal human would not really be able to do that.
Pokuti asks, "I heard you like Korra."
Well, yes, I do.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I never finished Korra, dude. I've watched Avatar twice. I watched the entire run of Avatar 2 times, the original. But I never finished Korra. Boom.
Oh, nice.
Here's fan art avatar of Korra drawn by me. I also want to include a work in progress, blah, that is a sketch and line art, and I love doing this. I love this. So
what do you got for me?
Boop. So then you take out the color,
wow.
and then boop.
That's pretty cool.
So really fun. I could do this all day. I love seeing it just come together.
Very cool.
That's really, really impressive. The muscles, man. The muscles are really key there.
That's what that's one of the things
the depth is really great.
I like about
her eyes are awesome.
Korra fans, that take on the official art. A lot of fans have taken the interpretation of Korra to be like more like muscular, more like very like a strong body, because she's definitely a very strong physical character in the show.
Yeah.
But a lot of people feel like the show didn't go far enough to like emphasize that. Like a person with that strength would like definitely have more muscle tone, and it's really nice to see fans be able to like show off a body type like that. Like it's really good to have that variety there. because there are people who see her as this like very sports like build like toned nice, but not like ripped like that. But then there are people who see like their interpretation of her is that she's very, very strong, very muscular, very, very toned like that. And it is good to have that representation. One of the many things that's really good about the Korra character and the series as well.
And kicking the colors out, which I really enjoy. We have a Horizon submission from Zephyrmoon. Also known as Sir Imshog. Zephyrmoon here. It really sucked that last month my comment got deleted. You're right. It does. It really sucks.
Random deletion.
Thank you for saying that. You're being honest. It deserves to be said.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's something that we're trying to figure out how to get around that. And also, Zephyr, if you want to come into the next month and be like, wasn't submitted, I submitted it, here's 2 things, we will show as much as you want to get out, especially if your comments don't make it through, but hopefully we can make adjustments moving forward. Who would have guessed that a small correction in punctuation could lead to the comment getting eaten? I'd like to thank the community for being amazing as always. The sense of camaraderie is a sight to behold, and I'm truly grateful to be a part of this group. The general gist of the comment was expressing my ever-growing love for this game, as well as to try and capture one of my favorite things to do in it. As for the new submission, it took me all month, but I finally made it. This has probably been one of my more ambitious projects, and is a great way to see how far I've come as an artist. I did a lot of experimenting with creating textures and lighting. I'm not particularly good at backgrounds, but I think I found a way of doing them in the future, so this was a good way of practicing. My favorite thing about this picture is the depth. I definitely get a sense that the head of that tall neck is really far away, and her hair is really cool. Kind of get a vibe of like early, like Atlantean art or something, it's just like that. It looks like something, her hair looks like something that would be like it looks like tile, like that would be on my...
And it's a really good dramatic angle too. Like I like that. Like I'm not familiar. Do you know what's in the bottom right corner? I haven't played Horizon. Like what she's looking down at. Like is that like this thing covered in?
It's just a bush or something. That I'm.
Okay, I didn't know.
She said she's not good at backgrounds. It's just a vine.
I didn't know if there's like robots or something like that because it's like I didn't want to be like, oh, that's an important enemy or something. Right. But it's cool because I'm curious. I'm like, what is down there? Like what has drawn her attention down there? And she's got like her weapon drawn. It's like what she's ready to go.
Yeah. But it's fun. Yeah, you climb up these things, you hack them, and then this is the release, the jump off. And it's always fun to do. And she gave us the work in progress too, so I love doing this again. Boop.
It's so cool.
I could just do that all day.
It's so cool to show me how bad I am at art.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too. If you produce art for the showcase, you will get a glowing review from me every time because I cannot draw, and it makes me sad because I'll think of something funny to draw and be like, no.
Yeah, when you take away like the colors, it's like just imagining coloring it in without like any like instruction. Just sometimes blows my mind. It's like, wait, what color? I was pick here. No. I'm gonna get it wrong.
So moving on to photos, Mr. Tim Beshin has been exploring the world.
Cool.
Specifically exploring Japan and China, and has been sending us fun pictures.
Nice.
He's been sending us great pictures of him in an Easy Allies shirt.
Oh, sweet.
Not wearing the Easy Allies shirt here. Even if he was,
look at that.
The Easy Allies shirt would be underwater. But Tim says, sadly, it's without my Easy Allies shirt. He said Assy Allies because he wore it under like a button up and then just opened it up and all it said was like Assy Ally. And I'm like, what's Assy Ally? I don't know what that is. But come on, it's in a lagoon. That photo was taken down in South Thailand.
Easy living right there.
Near Koh Phi Phi. Koh Phi Phi. Kohphi. Koh Phi Phi. Not the prettiest island on itself, but amazing landscapes all around.
Jeez.
Enjoy this.
That's what the prettiest island looks like if it looks this good.
Well, I sneeze. Oh, excuse me, sorry. It's inevitable. I made it through an hour and a half without sneezing. Ugh. But yeah, Tim, beautiful. I'm going to be sad when we're through all these. They're really, really incredible. And I love like getting in the water. And Tim, you look so happy. It's nice to just see our allies being that happy. Alexander Braviglieri. Here's my Gundam shelf.
Nice display case.
It was briefly shown during the last Gundam stream. I know Kyle has been asking for one just like this for some time now. So Kyle wants to get this. So if we get the studio, Kyle wants to put it in the glass
too for my house. Like I have a bunch of figures that like just don't have anywhere to put them. Like I would love to get one of these, but I always see the price of them, and I like don't click the buy button. I'm like, a little too pricey.
Do we need one in the studio though? Do you think that would?
I think that would be classy. Yes, that'd be very classy. Just the reflections, though. It's the only problem with them for camera shots, but they're very nice looking.
Do you know Pancake Pow? Do you know Paolo Alejandra? She's a Twitch streamer. I bump into her at review and preview events every now and then. She's got a killer thing like that. I remember I saw a picture one time. She's like, I'm about to stream, and she took it in front of that case. I was like,
nice.
Nice case. I see those, and it makes me think of just hobby shops, just places I used to.
I think of Comic-Con.
Yeah.
It's like walking all the displays at Comic-Con, those nice...
Yeah. That's how they show them at Comic-Con. So if you want a professional,
they got
show
lights
off your Gundams.
inside. Oh, it's so good, so jolly.
And I love our photos are all different things. So we got Tim on vacation, we got the Gundams, and then we got if you want some PC porn, Christoph Fatui. It's that time of month already. Now, some people may know I am a huge PC enthusiast. And with all the editing and gaming I do primarily on PC, I upgraded my setup to a new build. I documented most of the build with some pics, and I know Damiani has talked about upgrading his PC. I know most people are console gamers, but when did you guys first play on PC, and what was the game?
First time I ever touched a PC game was at someone's house. It was either one of my dad's good friends or some family friend, and they had Doom. But I had no idea what it was at the time. They showed me it, so I touched it for a second, like, oh, cool, video game. The first, I played those educational games.
Okay.
Like Reader Rabbit, Math Rabbit, and stuff. Oregon Trail in school was one of the games that they had that I played. The one for entertainment purposes. The first one I remember playing was either Jedi Knight 2.
Ooh.
Or X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter.
Both Star Wars options, though.
Those two. And there was a MiG-29 Fulcrum was another one.
The game was called MiG-29 Fulcrum?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was like a flight simulator
Top Gun vibes?
Yeah.
Wow.
I had a lot of fun with that, too. Yeah.
We had an Apple IIe, so I played a bunch of stuff on that, but that doesn't technically count. This is most likely not the first game, because I might have been at a really young age at like one of my brother's friends' houses, and he showed me a thing for a hot second. But I remember specifically going down the street to a friend of mine's house who had a PC and playing both Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade and Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. And I didn't play the whole thing. I would just go over every now and then, and I'd be like, where are you at? And he's like, I'm in this room, and we would like work through that part together.
Yes, Jack. Carmen San Diego. I played that as well.
Nice.
That was a school game. That was.
I played like Math Blasters and stuff like that at school, but like actual something I would like play again now.
Myst was one I tried to play, but I was so young. It was just over I didn't know what to do. I was like, what do you even do in this game? I thought it was just like a point and click to like keep advancing. Yeah. I know to solve. I was like, this is beyond me. Yeah.
But thank you for the PC.
Yes, thank you.
And also, again, I'm going to make this. I should do it before the stream, but once we're done, I'm going to go and make. You got to remind me to do this. I'm going to go make the community showcase public for everybody to check out.
Okay.
So you can go and check all of these videos and links and everything yourself. 4 more things, and they're all videos. I think it's actually going to be the most,
nice.
the largest number of videos that we got. Also, pour one out for our homie Mike Hook 1, who posted reserved. And that was it. So a couple of people posted reserved and then later popped in comments.
Mike Hook got his question in the friend code this week.
He did, Mike Hook, and we love Mike Hook. Mike Hook is an oldie. I don't know how old Mike Hook is, but Mike Hook's love of us and what we do
long time,
ancient.
Long time.
Cobwebs on that love. So yeah, we got 4 videos. Suit up.
Thank you.
We have a piece of music. We're going to play that last. In case there's any copyright. The person says it's their song, but oh boy, you never know. Aurélien Grenier, whose name I'm sure I butcher every time. The other day on Cup of Jones, I asked you, Brandon, about the French words that you were saying on your stream. And you seemed surprised. Maybe you didn't notice while streaming. So I made a small compilation, which I love you. Thank you so much for doing this. Not as much stuff that I remembered, but still. So here's a video compilation of your French expressions during a stream of Fortnite. Enjoy.
Oh, jeez.
Unbeknownst to me, I apparently had France on the brain. And then I got the Piece de la Resistance, my Gatling gun. I also remember reading it last night. I don't remember what it was. It's kind of French. It's like Allier or something. It's like there's first and last name, but
Jacques.
Sault Marais.
I know. Sault Marais.
Sault Marais. It's like Amelie or Amelia, or it's
not Amelie.
Christine or something like that. It's like it's a remake. I think Humphrey Bogart was in the original, and that's what I like about you. There's an innocence about you.
I quite
Hey, you
simply
shouldn't say
could
qua.
not figure out what that could mean.
What the heck? What was that? That's bizarre. Maybe it's because I was feeling romantic because my wife was around me. I don't know. I love this, dude. I love this piece of media so much. Dominic Barlow, folks. I miss evil Donkey Kong.
Evil Donkey Kong.
As much as I love bouncing back through entire countries as the happy, good version of the Big Ape, I always think, and evil and good, in this paragraph, both capitalized. I always think back to the original arcade game that bears his name, where Mario is only a humble Jumpman, and his nemesis is a cranky sourpuss who stole his girlfriend. But did you know there's another game that bears the Donkey Kong name, released in 1994 for the Game Boy?
Yes.
You can even find the game on the 3DS eShop.
Yep.
If you were going to go looking for it, you'd find a trailer, and if you were to play this trailer, you'd see the 4 levels from the arcade game in Game Boy graphics as advertised. This trailer is a lie by omission. There's more to the story of Game Boy Donkey Kong. Allow me to tell it now with my own version of that trailer.
People call this like Donkey Kong 94, I believe. That's how it's abbreviated.
So this is Dominic Barlow cutting his own trailer for a Game Boy game.
Nice.
I love this so much.
How high can you get? Holy crap. Wait, what? You can throw the thing up a ladder? Wait.
Dude, wait. He does some crazy stuff.
I never knew you could do that. Whoa!
Get wrecked, Mario.
Maybe it's only unique to this. Yep, Donkey Kong 94, baby. Yeah, look at this! Look at that Mario Brothers 2 carrying the key. What? Look at these levels!
The handstands, man. Wait for the handstands. Look at that.
I feel like this is like Kyle.
Is so good.
This is like Kyle Boss of the game.
Just the handstands. Just wait.
What? He's on time.
What? Boom.
As good as 6 going times. Oh wow, that's so good.
Wow, I love it. Oh,
Jeez,
man, I really love it. I love game trailers. I make no mistake.
I just remember seeing still images, but seeing that in action.
23 months. Thank you for the resub. Not looking at resubs at all.
Oh,
if you missed
man.
some.
Wow.
This is a patron stream more than it is a Twitch stream. So yeah, thank you for producing that. And I love it's. I mean, is there any greater satisfaction, community, than showing Damiani something he hasn't seen? So you're familiar with that game, but you haven't played it.
So I've never seen it in action. I just remember reading about it in Nintendo Power. My question to chat, well, they don't have to answer it now. I'll look at it later. Can you do the hammer toss in the original Donkey Kong?
I don't think so.
I think that's got to be unique to that. That blew my mind for a second. I was like, what? That was pretty cool, though. Pretty cool.
Super 3D Cow. After watching Kyle's Tetris streams every week trying to beat Wozniak, I was heavily inspired to start my own weekly stream. It has some similarities, but with a very different game. I just released this 12-week update video. I hope you enjoy it. I'm having so much fun with the streams, which would not exist if it weren't for the inspiration from all of Easy Allies. Thank you.
This is Poppin' Music 23. Similar to Dance Dance Revolution or Guitar Hero, but much harder than Guitar Hero.
Look at that. I love the camera on the pad, too. Man, it's like Guitar Hero with like 4 more buttons.
I am here to practice and train to beat a very difficult song called Concertaire.
Are you ready?
Whoa. What?
To explain how difficult this game is, the difficulty settings range from 1 to 50, and this
Is this
song
like 100
sits
then?
at 48. Still feels
Okay,
so
that's
bad.
only 48.
And I'm still down in the mid-20s.
Love the graphics.
Jolly Dolphin.
I'm slapping loud, it's because I'm trying to get it Perfect.
That's my reaction. That'd be me trying to play this.
Shall we go to Russia? Starry trance. European breakcore. Have you heard that genre?
Never heard that.
Teasy listening. Fluffy pop. Noro emo? Yeah, baby.
Hey,
This
okay.
is awesome.
The one note at the end. I love when I do really well in a Guitar Hero song and then I just completely miss that last note. Or just a sequence that like I should have. Wow.
Nice. Jeez. Okay.
Here I will.
Rest in peace, my hands.
There you go.
That art style looks. I don't know why I feel like it has like a French influence. Even though I know it's Japanese. Like something about the art style looks French, but I could be completely wrong. But holy crap, that game!
Yeah,
What the
respect.
heck? Yeah, no.
But that's a great idea for a stream.
Yeah.
If you have the console, if you got the peripheral, and all the graphics. I love the setup with the like how much space you
we
give
need a
yourself
hand
versus
cam.
the game and like the animation,
Hand
and everything.
cam.
The
Definitely
vibe and everything,
hand
your
cam.
attitude, great, really great.
Oh
and
my gosh.
I'm gonna have Kyle check those out because I'm sure he will be happy that he inspired something like that.
Jeez,
I'd watch that over a Kyle stream any day.
Okay.
We're getting near the end. We're getting a little salty. All right, you ready to rock out?
We're getting rough.
So we've done it. That is,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen. We have one more post. Ibrahim let us know what his favorite Dragon Ball opening is, but we want to avoid copyright issues with. So you can go check out. It was the Dragon Ball that had English lyrics.
It looked like
in
the
opening.
original English opening for
And I watched,
OG Dragon Ball.
And I watched it before. It's pretty funny. You should go check it out. So that is in the comments. But we are going to end with a song from Elliot Barker. This is my first time submitting to the community showcase, and I thought that I might submit the first single off one of my band's one of my band's new album.
Oh, nice.
Does that mean one of the albums from his new band, or he's in multiple bands?
Oh.
It sounds like multiple bands.
Yeah.
Go, Elliot.
Clarify.
The single is the title track from the album and is about the violence faced by LGBTQ plus communities, as well as the defiance and strength shown in overcoming said violence. I sing and play guitar in the band and drew a lot of my own experiences as a trans person when writing this album. It'll be out on Bandcamp, iTunes, Spotify, etc. on the 24th of February. I love that a lot of this stuff, a lot of these events that people are planning and a lot of these things are being released this month or the previous month, because we're here to talk about the month of January. But
we go.
Love wrapping it up with a little rock. And it's a good tune, and it fits within the time limit. Take it away! Sherbert Files with that awful sound.
Paint my black eye with your face. Stone with water colors. I bleed black, lose track of my sight. And never
Max up
heard
9,000.
sirens squirm or run away so fast before. Hope I got my blood in your clothes. Hope it gets trapped in your pores.
love the end too. It's a short song. I wonder if you cut that down for the showcase, but I like short little punchy songs like that. My favorite lyrics: "I hope I get my blood on your clothes. I hope it gets in your pores." I love that line. That's a great line. To have somebody, to any kind of vengeance you can possibly have on your attacker. I hope it gets in your pores.
Yeah.
You can definitely feel that from that song.
Yeah, that was very intense. Yeah, a lot of raw emotion in that. Like, it's good to hear that. Like, to get like some small modicum of like that perspective. It is good to hear that and be like forced to like have to listen to something like that. Yes.
If Elliot is in more than one band, I wonder if Elliot's other bands give him the opportunity to write and perform music like that.
Seems like a very good outlet. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much for that submission. Thank you for every submission. There were a lot of personal moments in this month's community showcase, and I definitely want to stress that like there are rules here, but we want to bend them and maybe even break them and explore what we can, what all of you are up to every month. And thank you for everybody for watching. Again, these are $10 and above patrons of Easy Allies. You can go to patreon.com/EasyAllies and donate to be a part of this. The post goes up near the end of the month, and then I don't know right now. I wish I could tell you in advance who the next person is, but I know it's getting down to the wire. It'll probably be Ben or I don't know if Ian's done one of these. Probably Ben or Ian, because I think they're the only ones on the list. Damiani jumped at the chance. And a couple months ago, I said, okay, who's going to be in the next ones? And Damiani's like, oh, well, I wanted to do January, but you can put me down for February. Or put me down to be here in February to celebrate the month that was January for Easy Allies. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Michael Damiani.
Oh, you're coming for me. I thought you were coming for all
baby.
of our patrons.
Well, I'll come for them next,
yeah.
but you were a wonderful guest today. Thank you for being
thank you.
patient and listening to me talk about
deserved
a lot of stuff.
applause, but
you did a wonderful job. Not many can do what you do just sitting on a couch. No, but I love it. I felt we had some legitimately funny, fun moments, and
always write into Troll Jones. You know how to make him.
And
angry.
the showcase, yeah.
Yes.
Well, there's some I can count on it. There's some people just going to do that anyway. But it's really great to bring in. I think one of my favorite things about the showcase is bringing in each individual ally and talking to them not only about the stuff and getting their take on it, but just kind of checking in. Even just like at the beginning of a frame trap, getting your update on what the stuff that you've been playing. I saw you were streaming Dissidia, but it's just like good to have somebody talking about it. Good to talk to you about it, and of course, more than anything,
Yes.
round of applause to all of the wonderful submissions. Again, we accept everything if it's not copyright, and obviously if it's okay for all ages. But one thing that was not included that people have done in the past, they submit screenshots from stuff that they've done. So they're like, hey, I unlocked this new armor piece or something like that. Even if I guarantee you, if it's something you're like, the only issue with this submission is I just don't think they'd care. I don't think this audience would care. There is no limit to stuff. If you're worried about like, oh, I saw some stuff people drew, or that song that they played is so great, I don't think my song or my piece of art is good enough. The point is, this is not a talent show. We do not pick winners. We want to get together and show stuff like we illustrated. We can't draw. We can write and play games, and I can edit some stuff. Maybe talk coherently on camera. We all have things we're good at. We all have ways to show our strengths. And whether it is a video, a song, a photograph, Gundam that you've built, or just a story. Again, we get more comments than anything, just people describing the month of January. It was kind of a lighter month, but we're getting into some crazy releases coming up, so I'm looking forward to hearing experiences from people. It's fun to see the trends. And should I keep the comments chronological, or should, if 8 people talk about Monster Hunter, should we have a Monster Hunter run of it? And then talk about
as long as if you're going through everything, I think maybe
combine them. I used to do that in community comments. And we've gotten away from that with the showcase.
Yeah.
I don't know how important the chronological listing of the comments is on Patreon, but and again, if there was any videos, I want to watch that video again, or I want to look. As I mentioned before, Christophe Fatui published more than one picture of his PC, the whole process of building it. You can also, of course, go. Some of the stuff is from pieces of work that will be on sale and be available in other locations, so you can go get those URLs and stuff. And again, big thank you to everybody that submitted. We couldn't do the showcase without you. We couldn't operate Easy Allies without you. So we are usually there's lots of gratitude, but there's a heavy amount because of all of the amazing stuff that you showed us. You made a show. We just did a show because of all of the contributions from our lovely community. Yeah. So thank you so much, everybody on Twitch, for watching. Thank you, Damiani, for coming. Thank you for the submissions. And we will see you next month for the February Community Showcase. Again, look for the post at the end of the month on Patreon. And take care, everybody.